Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for watching my video. My name is Breezy and I'm a yoga teacher. Now currently I'm chilling in my PJs, hanging out with my pups. Just finished a live Q&A where we were discussing trauma-informed practices such as yoga and also my work as a sexual abuse advocate and rape crisis center counselor. Such a mouthful. Now, I talk a lot about trauma, healing trauma, because I work with those who have suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I've worked with the military, I've worked with children, I've worked with people who have suffered from sexual abuse, domestic abuse, and what it has all taught me other than compassion, empathy, patience, is that most everybody has a story of pain, a story of survival, a story of hurt, and many people are still dealing with their triggers, dealing with the fact that they feel guilt, shame, anger, hurt, depression, suicidal, even addictions. I mean, there's so much that comes from the world of being traumatized. Once you learn about practices such as yoga, mindfulness, meditation, dance, art, you can start to incorporate different modalities of healing and weaving those into those who have suffered from trauma. So what is a trauma-informed practice? Well, it's any practice technically that has an informed component that helps us to realize that the people that would be engaging may think differently, may have fears, may feel unsafe, may not feel secure or grounded, and may need to rewire their biology. And our nervous system's entire focus is to keep us alive. It is our barometer to tell us if we're in pain. Now we have this old lizard brain called the amygdala, and that is where you have your fight, flight, or freeze reflexes. This is where we inherently go. Think about a wild beast chasing you. You're going to either fight, flight, or freeze. Now this is typically one of our responses whenever we're under intense pressure, unless of course we've had intense training to push us through that pressure that we might be feeling. So that's what we're trying to do when we're focusing on rewiring the biology of the brain whenever we've suffered from trauma. And then depending on how violent, how stressful your nervous system was during your traumatic experience or multiple experiences, and the healing work that you have or haven't done will all depend on where you're at today. What we do with those who have suffered from PTSD, which is more of an intense diagnosable trauma, is we have to figure out what's causing them to have a fight, flight, or freeze reflex, what's triggering them. So if you go into fight, flight, or freeze for something that should be reasonable in your environment, that's a sign that you could be suffering from PTSD. So we work to begin to make that connection back to self. Now we do that through a multitude of ways, but meditation and mindfulness practices are probably primo. It helps to rewire the brain. It helps to bring you into a centered, grounded place and also to connect you back to self. Whenever you're in that old amygdala brain, you're disconnecting from self. You're disassociating from your own thoughts, your feelings, and what's truly happening. Have you ever walked into a room and you saw your chair, but it was dark and you weren't sure if it was your chair, if it was a person standing there, and then you either froze, fled, or was ready to fight? That's that same feeling that you might get, but all of the time, to the point where it's debilitating to your day-to-day activities. So that's a telltale sign that you're suffering from PTSD. There's lots of other signs, and you do not have to have a diagnosable trauma to be traumatized or to be able to utilize a trauma-informed practice such as yoga. Going from surviving to thriving, making that mind, body, spirit connection. There's nothing like it.